Hey, it's Saturday night. I think there's three people joining, but the video will go onto Facebook, on the YouTube, so people can go back and watch it. I want to come on really shortly just to talk a little bit about what's going to happen tomorrow and what to expect, and what we would like and what we'd like to see, and give you some heads up on some stuff, and go from there. So, a couple things. We will meet tomorrow at the church virtually and physically, or physically and virtually. You are invited to join us at 11 o'clock if you wish. But we will also be broadcasting virtually, and we will, I just assure you, we will not stop broadcasting. So you can join either way tomorrow at 11 o'clock. You can come to the building, or you can watch from the comfort of your living room. And either way is perfectly acceptable, and we're excited about. So let's talk about how tomorrow looks. First of all, I want to remind you that we haven't used the church building. I mean, a few of us have, but for the most part, for the last 2 months, it's been empty as other than me and then a crew on Sunday morning. As a result of that, we decided a while ago to turn the heat off, which is going to be a little interesting tomorrow. It could be cold. Now, this is a temporary issue, but fact of the matter is we have a cinder block building, and if we have the heat turned off, then the building cools overnight and will warm up during the day. It's supposed to be really nice tomorrow, really hot, but dress appropriately. We could have a kind of a cold morning as far as how the building goes. So hopefully by 11 it'll warm up a little bit, but dress appropriately because the building has not had the heat on since, I don't even know, month and a half. The other part of that is we are going to open up two different doors. We'll open up the doors directly into the sanctuary from outside. So if you ever walk by, the church building, you see these doors. They're not ever open, hardly, except for when it's really, really warm in the summertime. And so, but we're going to open them tomorrow, prop them open, so you'll be able to enter through that way, or enter the main way. And I'll probably wrangle somebody to hold the door on the main entrance so that nobody has to touch doors. The rest of the building is closed off other than the nursery and the coffee room. And so what we would like to see you do as far as attendance and how it comes, we would like you to come into the building, say hi to people, and then go find a place to sit down. We think that we have the sanctuary set up in a way to where you can socially distance. The rules are, or the recommendations are, that we can meet as physically together. Groups more than 25 religious faith organizations can do that, but we have to social distance and do some of those different things. We don't have to wear masks, but if you feel comfortable wearing a mask, you should. There are 30-some masks at the church right now that have been made for us, and we can give you a mask. We want you to keep it and use it. We don't want you to turn it back in. That's your mask to take and wear around. But we have set the sanctuary up in a way to where we have chairs on one side and tables and chairs on the other side. And we think that the way it's separated, that you can distance from one another very easily. We are asking that you will sit with family groups, that you would not intermingle and join with multiple family groups, but you would sit in your family cluster, and then that family cluster can be together, and then we'll create some distance from outside of that, and we think there's enough space in there. If you have little kids, people who are going to watch this later, if you have little kids, we have tables set up in the sanctuary for you to sit at your tables, so that you can keep them entertained, have coloring. I think our busy bags are available. I think they're done and ready, and you can hang out at a table so they can do crafts and color during church tomorrow. We will not be having nursery or kids ministry tomorrow. The nursery will be open, but what we're asking that if you feel like you want to remove your child from the service, take them to the nursery yourself. You need to be in there with them in the nursery. The nursery is big enough for the kids to be in there, and we will have a small television set up in there to where you will be able to see the service. It'll be on a 10 to 15 second delay. But if you were to take your little into the nursery, you need to be in there with them. There's no drop off. You have to stay in there with them, and then try to keep them as best you can separated. I know that's hard. Um, we have the two main bathrooms cleaned. They've been sanitized, and they will be open. We will try to leave the doors open the best we can, but uh, those are the only bathrooms that are going to be available. Everything else is locked, and then we actually have the gate to the end of the hallway that's closed as well. So what we would like you to do is come into church at 11, come into the sanctuary, participate in worship, enjoy seeing each other face to face, and when worship is over, we would love for you to leave, to not linger. I know that's hard. We are notorious for hanging out, being at the church until 1, and just lingering. What it would be in, and actually it's in the guidelines for religious organizations for the state of Wyoming, to just come to church and then leave. And so when worship is over, 12:10 or so, we'll say goodbye. We'll pray for you. We'll bless you. We'll say we'll see you next week. Say goodbye to each other on the way out, and go home and have a good family afternoon. Now, as a result of this, here's what I want to remind you all. There are some people in our that we'll be with tomorrow that have no fear at all, no concern, have not even worried about this one bit, and want to hug and embrace the church family again. There's others who are a little nervous or apprehensive, and both people are right and both people are good. And so what we want you to do is respect people's space, respect distance. If we would just ask, we're not telling anybody not to hug. It would be wise not to hug. But in my opinion, and I think the way I want to lead us is that you need to ask for permission. And don't just run up and start hugging and even shaking hands. One of my favorite parts of church is just greeting each other, and it's going to be complicated. And I'll address it first thing in the morning as well. But remember, the person sitting next to you, 6 feet away, might have a different opinion about how to respond to what's going on right now in the world. And so it's really, really, really important for you to have, even though you might not have apprehension, you might not have concern for yourself, to have concern for the person sitting to your left or sitting to your right. And so in that sense, there'll be people with masks, and because they have that's fine. And we need to remember that the way in which people view this is okay. And we're going to do our best to be a church that loves, a church that cares, a church that does it well. We're not interested in making points. We're not interested in being right. We're not interested in proving something. We are simply going to gather as a church and do it out of love and care for our neighbor. And so we would love for you to be there, but we also understand, and we want to make virtual gatherings still. It's going to be available, and you're welcome to however you want to approach it. Think of that as it. I went through every little list that I had. We would ask that if you have children, and you're going to people with children watching this later, to try to keep them as corralled as possible. I know it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. These kids that we have, this beautiful group of 30 kids that we have that run through the building, are not going to know how to handle tomorrow morning. And so you need to coach them, parents. You need to coach them that said, this is different than the last time we were together. We're going to come into church and we're going to set the table. We're going to say hi to grandmas and grandpas. We're going to say hi to the people we love. But we're going to do a good job of saying hi from a distance and waving, and we're not going to run around outside, and we're not going to run around through the building. We are coming to church, and then we're going to depart. Now, I want to assure you, week by week, we will start to open up more and more things for church. We will add nursery, we will add kids ministry, we'll start to add youth group and Wednesday nights and all those different things that we love about church. I know that small groups we can meet already, and so those are starting to kick off because they're under 25. And so there are lots of things that we are capable of doing, but we're going to do it slowly so that, once again, that's the word that we're going to use, we're above reproach. And we do it well and do it right. I know that tomorrow we'll have visitors. There'll be people that are going to come that we haven't met before. And we want to show them that we have concern and we love them. And so that's going to be our focus. And so just remember, tomorrow, come in, church is at 11, church is over, and go home. We only have access to a couple spaces. The sanctuary, the coffee room, and the nursery. If you have a little one that you need to get out of the room because they need a diaper change or whatever, they just don't want to be, need to be in there with the nursery. We will have 2 doors open. You can come in through the main doors or doors that head into the sanctuary. In fact, we might even open up another door that you can go out and exit that we haven't never used really for Sunday mornings. So we might have 3 doors. Still trying to figure out if that makes sense. But you are welcome to join us tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And we'll see you, and we'll have worship, and we'll have some teaching, and we're looking at Philippians again. And so we're looking forward to it. We're excited to get back and start to slowly move back into a normal way of doing church, although it probably won't be normal for a while, the way that we remember it. But we're going to work hard to make sure that everybody feels loved, cared for, and that the church is alive and active. And it is, and we are. And so, hey, we'll see you tomorrow. We're excited for you to see you if you come. I will see you virtually and wave at you and remind you that you're loved too. And so have a great night.